Producers and recording artists, if your music blows up on TikTok, you might be asking one thing: who actually owns the rights once TikTok changes hands? Today, I'm going to be reacting to a video by Top Music Attorney, going over the terms and condition and really breaking down what's happening. So make sure you stay tuned to the very end of the video because there's a lot of very important information that you don't want to miss. Without further ado, let's get into it.
The videos that you upload are and still, fact going to be your videos. Okay, great. Now, there's a catch. As soon as you upload your videos to TikTok, what you're doing is you're giving a worldwide royalty free, meaning they're not going to pay you, permanent. You can't take it back, right to have a license to everything you put on the platform, right? And it's like quite literally, if you put it on, whether you publish it, publicly, privately, everything. So this is really important if you guys like have stuff that maybe are just having in your drafts or whatever. Keep this in mind. But the reason this matters is particularly for creatives. If you make music, if you paint, if you are an author, obviously in the promotion of your stuff, you're going to share it in the context of a video. And so thinking through this, I'm like, well, that means you're literally giving a license to use your videos and all the stuff contained therein, including your likeness, including your face. So, when TikTok says it's going to have the right to copy, to remix, to distribute your videos and anything contained in them, you should definitely keep this in mind.
That's a lot of leverage that we're granting these different social media apps, particularly in this example, TikTok. We have so many different ideas. Sometimes we don't even want to post it yet. Maybe you guys do like me, you batch record and you want to schedule things out. You got all kinds of different ideas. And the fact that TikTok just has the right to pretty much do with it whatever they want, with AI getting bigger and bigger, and we're granting these different social media apps so much rights over our creativity, typically unwittingly, what could happen next? They could use our voice, they could use our likeness, they could use our creative output and use it to train possibly AI. Part of me kind of laughs to myself when I see some of the comments on AI and Suno and things like that, because I'm like, man, if you upload this music anywhere, it's gonna get grabbed and it's gonna get trained on it, whether you like it or not. But let's go ahead and get back into the video.
As an IP attorney, this is like all that I do is just negotiate and get people paid to use their stuff. So the most amazing part of this, where it says you're giving a royalty free, you don't get paid. So it's this really incredible thing that's happening. And this was a thought that I had. I'm like, I feel like TikTok is basically at this position. It's such a giant right now that for all of us, it goes, I'm going to announce and make literally everything seen. I'm going to tell you. I'm taking everything from you. I'm going to use it publicly. I'm going to put it in my paid ads and all this stuff. I'm literally going to tell you to your face. And you're still not going to jump off the platform because, you little creator, how are you going to get your stuff seen if you're not on my platform? I totally feel like that's what's happening here. Anyway.
That's very true. As much as creatives say, I don't want to give up my rights, I don't want to give up my intellectual property. But at the end of the day, to compete, to actually be able to be seen amongst the crowd, you're going to have to click that checkbox to actually be, seen in the algorithm, to actually compete with the rest of the people. And when it comes to that royalty free part, that's really crazy because, I have music out there with sync licensings on TV, films, and things of that nature. And being able to get some of the back end from that is definitely rewarding. And I see that that's possibly going to be taken away from a lot of people in the future, whether it be through AI or through just giving consent here through platforms like TikTok. So, man, this is a crazy game. This feels like big bank take little bank. Let's get back to the video.
So jumping in, we're going to section 3.5. So 3.5, from the terms of service, ownership of content, and grant of licenses. All right, so if you scroll down, first of all, by creating, basically an account and putting your videos, your content onto the platform, you grant to TikTok USDS joint venture, which is the new company name, a license to use your stuff that is, again, this is the language, non-exclusive, irrevocable, royalty-free. Here's the other thing, though. Assignable and sub-licensable. Assignable, sub-licensable means they can give it to someone else. And we just go to war over like those two words in contracts because we're like, I don't want you to be able to give some other company the right to use my videos, besides the fact that I really don't want you using my face in your paid ads without letting me know, without getting my permission. I definitely don't want you giving that right to someone else. So that is what it says, and that's what you have agreed to.
Wow. So not only are we granting permission to TikTok, we're granting permission to TikTok and its affiliates and to people that they're associated with to use our content for free with no royalty, nothing like that. It's not just TikTok that does stuff like that. It's just essentially, at least from what I've seen so far, a lot of these different popular social media platforms, they all do the same thing. So it's like, if you even make TikToks, can someone like imitate you and make like a whole bunch of strange AI videos? Am I hearing that right? Is that a possibility? Guys, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but it sounds like that. So, if you play guitar, you rap, you make beats, anything like that, it sounds like they could just create models off of you and, redo your music. So one day we might not even be needed. So I'm not trying to fear monger or anything like that, but just from that point that Top Music Attorney made, it sounds like that's actually a possibility. So man, it's just getting crazy out there, guys. Stay safe. So let's get back into the video.
But that's not where it ends. Our license to use your content includes our right to access, reproduce, distribute, share, download, adopt, or adapt, or make derivative works. Okay. And, you know, in the realm of just like people being able to use your stuff however they want, but particularly TikTok. All right. It's just whatever they want to do, and there's nothing you can do about it. Okay. But then it goes to AI training because that's a big thing that's been coming out because these companies will just be like, we want to use your stuff to train AI. And so a lot of them are trying to make it more like informed consent. They're not just shoving it in the terms of service and forcing you to agree. They're trying to carve it out because it's such a big deal right now. There's so many lawsuits about AI stuff. But anyway, in here, they just put it in and they go, all your stuff, your music, your paintings, your audiobooks, all your good stuff. It's going to be automatically put into our training for the AI. You can't take it back. And yet again, they're not going to pay you anything. So, like I said, good news. You do get to keep your videos, but you're giving a whole lot to just be on the platform. So, for my content creators, is that something that concerns you? Let me know. Second, as far as like the discretion for TikTok, this really popped out to me because TikTok is saying that it has a lot more power to ban your accounts, but actually, this has to do with your usernames. So, again, we literally will sell Instagram accounts, Facebook pages, TikTok accounts at some point because they become so valuable. When you have a reach, when you have millions and millions of followers, it becomes really valuable. It's like an asset, right? And so we care about this again for content creators because if at some point TikTok can just suspend or ban or do whatever it wants, you lose all of your investment. So, obviously, as an entertainment attorney, I'm like, please make sure you're diversifying. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. If it so happens that TikTok is like your bread and butter platform, okay, I hear ya. Keep cooking. You're doing great. Please go to other platforms. Please start an email list, do other stuff because it could be just at any point.
Yes, this is very true. You guys do not want to be totally dependent on one social media platform, especially if it's something that you got going on right now. It's going hot, it's going viral, you're getting all kinds of attention right now. Do not totally depend on it. Always make sure you're giving out some type of freebie in exchange for an email. So that way, if anything happens to these social media platforms, you get banned for whatever reason, you have a way to still communicate and still connect with your fans and supporters. So I'm always giving out free packs or free this or free that. So that way, just in case anything happens, I can still reach you guys. I can still stay in contact. And, for all you musicians out there, please, I know you guys like the likes and comments and fiery emojis, but you need a way to still stay connected to the people. Let's get back into the video.
With the username, it's just like basically TikTok is saying it can reclaim your name for any reason. So, big things, very important. But then moving on, another one has to do with branded content. All right. If ever you guys are going in and you're posting something, even if it's free, you do a branded thing because you got, I don't know, I had I had a company once send me a jacket, and they're like, "Hey, this is like our super bougie, jacket. We want you to post about it, whatever." But nonetheless, like I'm still being sponsored to do stuff. So even if it's not paid, if it is someone who is endorsing you, sponsoring you, you are required not just by TikTok, but actually, under the Federal Trade Commission, so like the federal government. So they take that very seriously. And again, all this stuff is going to ultimately be used to potentially restrict your count, and get you into some trouble if you forget to say something is sponsored, if you forget to tag it appropriately. All right, so 3.6, removing your content. We can remove access to any of your content, including your stuff that is public or private. And again, going back to the all the stuff in your drafts, be careful with that, man. They're saying that for stuff, even like your messages, the comments that you make, the messages that you send to TikTok, everything is being treated as being or I should say, usable and licensed to TikTok. Nothing is private, nothing is secure. So please keep that in mind. But anyway, posting branded content, this is section 3.7. So if you post this stuff, you got to make sure to disclose to the high heavens, or bad things can definitely happen. And look, section 4. If bad things do happen, if you lose your account that otherwise, let's say, wasn't even monetized, because did you guys catch that? With the monetization piece, like we're all getting on this platform and giving all of our content and videos and songs and all of our things for nothing. It's kind of like TikTok is treating us like we should just be so grateful to be there. Now, I do think that reasonably speaking, if a company was going to come out and just be like, "You are granting us the right to train on all of your stuff and you're giving us licenses," well, I think at a minimum, they should be doing profit participation for everyone on the platform, right? Isn't that a fair exchange? That's not what's happening here. And in fact, the way that this is structured is that you don't get paid unless you are actually part of one of their programs, right? You get nothing for just being on the platform. You give a whole lot.
And that's the thing with these social media platforms, man. They have a lot of different tools. There's plenty of ways to get creative, to get attention, to get eyeballs on your brand and your music and everything like that. And with that, we want to make sure that we're building connections and building relationships with the people. So we want to make sure that there's a business aspect, a lead generation aspect whenever it comes to using these social media platforms. Otherwise, you could just be one of the people who have a high subscriber count or high follower count, and you're not able to actually make any type of money from it. And make sure that you're not just getting attention, but you're also causing transactions to happen because people find something so valuable from you that they want to exchange dollars. So let's get back into the video.
Back to the privacy concerns. All right, this is where it gets real hot. This is where people are focusing. So in tandem, there was the terms of service update, but then there was also the privacy policy update. Let's take a look at that. All right, so this is on page 3. If you scroll down, all right, it says information you provide, okay? May include. So this is all the stuff they're going to be taking a peek at. So, under the applicable laws, this is going to be relevant age threshold. You may disclose content about your racial, ethnic origin, national origin, religious beliefs, mental or physical health diagnosis. Like, I just stopped right here. What? Mental or health diagnosis, right? Or physical health, sexual life or sexual orientations, status as transgender or non binary, citizenship or immigration status, or financial information. Is this true? I heard someone say that, TikTok, in order to be so good with its algorithm, and I know the algorithm's changing for the US and all that stuff, but the reason why it's so sophisticated, it's so good, is because it's like camera and audio turn on. And so it's like watching and listening to you. Is that true? If it is, terrifying. But I just go, if they're like you're giving us, the ability to have access to all this information, how do they get it? Are they just going by the stuff that, again, you're posting and you're commenting and you're whatever, and it just uses its big AI brain to figure it out? Or are they taking additional steps? Like, truly, I these are the thoughts and concerns that I have. But in the at least solutions, if you're watching this, you're like, what do I do? Okay, so you're going to go into your phone, right? So in the settings, it's settings and privacy, and then security and permissions. And they're at least saying a lot of this stuff is because they innocently just want to advertise to you. So there's a new button in there. So you go into the securities and permissions and you're going to turn off all the things that you can find, right? There's like suggest your account to other accounts. Stop the syncing, stop the Facebook friends, but then there's a button for targeted ads. Turn that off. Okay?
I know you guys have been in that position before where it's like, I didn't search for this, or I looked at this in a totally different place. And I'm not even talking about the website cookies. It does get a little creepy. It's like, how are you really getting this information about me? So that's definitely a good point, man. Y'all be careful out there. Let's get back into the video.
The framing of this is like, we want to, advertise as great as we can for you. And so with that, we need to know all your personal details. We need to know about your mental health. We need to know about your sexual orientation. We need your financial information so we can advertise to you. Okay. I'm good. I don't need to be advertised to. So I've turned that off. Okay. But at the end of the day, it's just like with TikTok, again, just being one of the biggest platforms out there, I really do go back to that question of them just blatantly putting this out there for everyone to find, not even trying to hide it, and being this aggressive because they're betting you're not going to get off the platform. So then turning to like, well, what about Meta, right? Facebook and Instagram, because they've been a little sensitive when they get pushback from the public about privacy concerns and whatever. They seem to obviously go towards more reasonable language, but some of this is pretty aggressive. So for you TikTok users, what I would say, we're live right now. And so if you got to join live, say, hey, drop a comment. Let's go. Let's go. But TikTok has already done this, right? The updates happened on January 22, 2026. So what do you do from here? Again, I've seen people even like going into airplane mode, and they go, before you go to try to uninstall this, be in airplane mode because it's going to get you. And, it just, what I've seen is that for a lot of the language that is now in the actual contract, they were doing some of this stuff anyway. And that's what is concerning me about a lot of these companies, is especially with the AI training, they were doing it anyway. And they may have posted about it in like their community guidelines or somewhere, right? They just put it out into the ethernet and no one sees it. But they're like, we gave you guys notice, right? But this is the most aggressive way because now it's in a contract that you have signed and you are bound to. And so the other huge pieces of this, of course, is, they have limitations of liability. So if something bad really does happen, because I don't know, on geolocation stuff, I'm good. Again, I don't need you to know where I am ever. But if something bad happened, then there's a lot of barriers to someone bringing a claim against TikTok.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like if you get off of TikTok, then you get on Meta. And then if you get off of Meta and you get on another platform, it's like they start creeping in these new terms, these new updates so smoothly. And it's like if you're already, in a rhythm, you already have a system of uploading your content. Once they make the changes, you're so hooked on it. It's like, what are you going to do? You're going to stop using it? You're going to go to our competitors? Our competitors are doing the same thing. There's no real escape. Where are you going to go? Unless you plan on, getting boots on the ground, meeting people in person and selling, physical media, which, is a possibility. Some people might be exploring that, but, the masses definitely aren't doing that, especially when it comes to music creatives, producers, songwriters, independent recording artists. Definitely still using these platforms. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you think below. What do you think about these changes? Do you think there's any solutions or remedies from these big corporations just having total access to our creative works? What are some solutions that you're seeing? Please let me know in the comments. We have to keep this conversation going. That way we're prepared and that way we can find solutions to these issues. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. My name is Desmond A, and I'll be back with more great videos. Peace. Wait, before you go, make sure you go to DesmondASounds.com where you can get free FL Studio Patcher plugins, free loops, free guides, everything you need to level up your music production. Once again, go to DesmondASounds.com or click the link in the description. Go there now and totally transform your music production.